The massive alien vessel materialized at the edge of the solar system without warning. One moment the vast expanse beyond Neptune's orbit was empty, the next a behemoth of impossible proportions hung there, its hull gleaming with an otherworldly sheen that defied human understanding. Earth's deep space monitoring stations erupted into chaos. Alarms blared, screens flickered with incomprehensible data, and panicked voices filled secure channels worldwide. In mission control centers from Houston to Beijing, sleep-deprived technicians gaped at their displays, desperately trying to make sense of the readings. "It can't be," muttered Dr. Evelyn Hayes, her eyes wide as she stared at the main screen at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. "The mass, the energy output, it's beyond anything we've ever encountered." As the news spread like wildfire across the globe, humanity's reaction was swift and predictable. Stock markets plummeted, religious leaders called for calm or proclaimed the end times, and social media exploded with a mix of fear, excitement, and wild speculation. In the halls of power, leaders scrambled to formulate a response. The UN Security Council convened an emergency session, while military commanders worldwide placed their forces on high alert. The possibility of hostile intent loomed large in every discussion. "We need to broadcast a message," insisted the Chinese ambassador, his normally stoic demeanor cracking under the strain. "Show them we're a peaceful, technologically advanced species." "And if they're not here peacefully," countered his American counterpart, her voice tight with tension, "we can't risk exposing our vulnerabilities." As the debate raged on Earth, the alien vessel began to move with a burst of energy that sent ripples through the fabric of spacetime itself. It accelerated towards the inner solar system. Terror gripped billions as they watched the live feeds, the monstrous ship growing larger with each passing hour. Then, just as it approached Mars' orbit, the unthinkable happened. The alien vessel transmitted a message in perfect English. "People of Earth," the voice boomed from every speaker and screen capable of receiving the signal, "we have returned." The words sent shockwaves through human civilization. Returned? What could it mean? Before anyone could process the implications, the transmission continued. "We are the Galactic Federation. Long ago we discovered your species in its infancy. We saw potential in your kind, a potential for warfare." Images flooded the broadcast showing primitive humans being observed by strange ethereal beings. The aliens watched as early Homo sapiens crafted tools, built shelters, and engaged in tribal conflicts. "We cultivated your warlike nature," the voice explained as the images shifted to show alien technology subtly influencing human development. "We guided your evolution, shaping you into the perfect soldiers for our interstellar conflicts." The revelation hit humanity like a sledgehammer. Everything they thought they knew about their history, their very nature as a species, was being turned on its head. "For millennia you served as our weapons," the alien narrative continued. "Your ancestors fought and died across 1,000 worlds, never knowing the true scope of the galaxy around them." The broadcast showed scenes of human warriors clad in advanced armor battling monstrous creatures on alien worlds. The violence was breathtaking, the human fighters displaying a savagery that both horrified and fascinated their modern descendants. "But then tragedy struck," the alien voice intoned. "A great calamity befell our civilization. In the chaos that followed, your world was forgotten." The images shifted again, showing the alien overseers abandoning Earth, leaving the fledgling human civilization to fend for itself. Centuries passed in a blur, humanity rising from primitive tribes to sprawling empires, then to the modern technological age. "We have returned to reclaim our weapons," the voice concluded, "to see what you have become in our absence." As the transmission ended, an eerie silence fell across the planet, and living rooms and government chambers alike. Humans struggled to process the earth-shattering revelations. For Dr. Evelyn Hayes, the shock quickly gave way to a burning curiosity. "If what they're saying is true," she mused, her mind racing, "then our entire understanding of human evolution is wrong. But why return now, and what do they expect to find?" In the White House Situation Room, the President of the United States sat ashen-faced, surrounded by equally stunned advisors. "Options," she demanded, her voice hoarse. "I need options. How do we respond to this?" The Secretary of Defense cleared his throat. "Madam President, I recommend we mobilize every asset we have. If they're here to reclaim us, we need to be prepared to resist." "And if resistance is futile," the Secretary of State countered. "We're talking about a civilization capable of forgetting an entire planet for thousands of years. How can we possibly stand against that kind of power?" As the debate raged on, the alien vessel continued its approach. It passed the orbit of Mars, then slipped past the asteroid belt. All of Earth's space-based assets tracked its progress, helpless to do anything but observe. In orbit, the crew of the International Space Station watched with a mix of awe and terror as the massive ship drew near. Commander Marcus Elgin, a veteran of 3 space missions, felt his breath catch in his throat as he realized the true scale of the alien vessel. It's bigger than the moon," he whispered, his words carried to millions of listeners on the planet below. "How is that even possible?" As humanity grappled with its new reality, strange phenomena began to occur across the globe. Ancient structures, pyramids, stones, circles, and monuments whose purposes had long been debated began to emit pulses of energy. Archaeologists and physicists alike were baffled as these sites, scattered across every continent, seemed to awaken after millennia of dormancy. In the remote highlands of Peru, Dr. Miguel Ortega and his team watched in disbelief as the ruins of Machu Picchu thrummed with an otherworldly glow. "It's as if," he stammered into his satellite phone, "as if the entire city was designed as some kind of beacon." Similar reports flooded in from Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid of Giza, Angkor Wat, and dozens of other sites. Each pulse of energy seemed to reach out towards the approaching alien ship like long-dormant machines finally fulfilling their purpose. As the strange energies built to a crescendo, the alien vessel suddenly halted its advance. It hung in space just beyond the orbit of Earth's moon, a silent colossus that dwarfed humanity's greatest achievements in space exploration. Then, without warning, smaller craft began to emerge from the massive ship, sleek, gleaming vessels that defied Earth's most advanced radar systems. They streaked towards the planet. Panic erupted as the alien ships entered the atmosphere, their destinations unclear, but instead of weapons of mass destruction, the ships released clouds of microscopic machines. These nanobots spread rapidly through Earth's atmosphere, defying all attempts to contain or destroy them. Within hours, they had blanketed the entire planet. Fear turned to confusion as the nanobots' purpose became clear. They were scanning, analyzing, cataloging every aspect of Earth's biosphere and of humanity itself. Dr. Hayes, working tirelessly at JPL to understand the alien technology, made a startling discovery. "They're not just scanning us," she announced to her colleagues. "They're comparing us to some kind of template, as if they're checking how much we've changed since they left." Then the aliens issued an ultimatum. "Rejoin us," they declared. "Reclaim your place as the galaxy's premier warriors, or face extinction as a failed experiment." In the face of extinction, humanity found its voice. Dr. Naomi Bennett, a researcher in Antarctica, broadcast a message that would change history. "We are not just weapons," she declared. "We are explorers, dreamers, creators, and yes, we are warriors, but we choose our own destiny. When we need to be, but we fight for peace, for justice, for the right to determine our own destiny." As she spoke, something remarkable began to happen. The ancient sites that had awakened earlier started to pulse in rhythm with her words. It was as if the Earth itself was amplifying humanity's defiance. The alien emissaries paused, clearly taken aback by this unexpected response. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across their ethereal features. In that moment of hesitation, humanity seized its chance. Leaders from every nation, setting aside old rivalries, came together in an unprecedented show of unity. They drafted a response that would echo through the ages. "We acknowledge our violent past and the role you played in shaping it, but we are more than the sum of our genetic programming. We have evolved not just physically but culturally and ethically. We will not be reclaimed as weapons, nor will we accept extinction. Instead, we offer a third choice. Let us show you what we've become. Let us prove our worth not as soldiers but as allies." As the human response was transmitted, the alien vessel seemed to vibrate with an inner tension. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, with humanity's future hinging on whether their impassioned plea would be heard. Then slowly, incredibly, the massive ship began to change. Its sleek surface rippled and shifted, sections realigning to reveal a colossal holographic projection. The image flickered to life, displaying a panoramic view of Earth's history since the alien departure. Billions of humans watched in awe as millennia of progress unfolded before their eyes. The projection began with primitive tribes scattered across continents, struggling to survive in a harsh world. As the images accelerated, civilizations rose and fell, each leaving its mark on the tapestry of human achievement. The Great Pyramids of Giza pierced the sky, the Roman Empire expanded and crumbled, and great cathedrals reached toward the heavens. Then came the Renaissance, an explosion of art and science that seemed to make the hologram itself pulse with vibrant energy. Leonardo da Vinci's sketches danced alongside Michelangelo's sculptures while Galileo's telescopes peered into the cosmos. The Industrial Revolution roared to life, belching smoke and steam as humanity harnessed the power of machines. Cities grew at an unprecedented rate, steel and concrete monuments to human ingenuity, stretching toward the clouds. World wars raged, showcasing humanity's capacity for both destruction and resilience. The projection didn't shy away from the horrors, but it also highlighted the courage and sacrifice that ultimately led to peace. As the 20th century dawned in the hologram, the pace of progress became dizzying. The Wright brothers took to the skies, their fragile aircraft evolving into supersonic jets in the blink of an eye. Einstein's theories revolutionized physics, while the unleashing of atomic power served as both a warning and a promise of untapped potential. Computers shrank from room-sized behemoths to handheld devices connecting the world. In a web of instant communication, medical breakthroughs eradicated diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries, while green technologies began to heal the scars left by industrial excess. The hologram culminated with humanity's first tentative steps into space: Sputnik, Yuri Gagarin, the moon landing, the International Space Station, and the latest Mars rovers. As the projection faded, the message was clear: in the aliens' absence, humanity had not merely survived, it had thrived. The alien emissaries stood motionless, their ethereal features unreadable as they processed the information. The silence stretched for what felt like an eternity before their collective voice resonated once more. Impressive, they intoned the word, carrying a weight that made it clear they did not offer praise lightly. You have indeed evolved beyond our initial parameters, but the question remains, are you still suitable for your original purpose? Dr. Evelyn Hayes, watching from JPL, couldn't contain her frustration. Original purpose, she muttered. We're not some outdated software in need of an upgrade, we're a sentient species with our own goals and aspirations. As if in response to her unheard comment, the aliens continued. We must evaluate your current capabilities, prepare yourselves for a series of tests that will determine your worth to the Galactic Federation. Before world leaders could formulate a response, the alien ships began to move. They spread out across the globe, positioning themselves over major population centers. From each vessel, a beam of shimmering energy descended, enveloping entire cities in translucent domes. Panic erupted as people found themselves cut off from the outside world. Communications within the domes functioned, but nothing could penetrate the energy barriers. In New York, Tokyo, London, and dozens of other metropolises, millions of people became unwilling participants in the aliens' grand experiment. Inside the domes, strange phenomena began to occur. In Central Park, the trees suddenly burst into bloom, their branches heavy with fruit never before seen on Earth. Pedestrians on the Champs-Élysées in Paris watched in amazement as the street beneath their feet transformed into a liquid that somehow supported their weight. The alien voice echoed through each dome. Adapt, survive, prove your worth. As the implications of their situation sank in, humanity's response was as varied as its population. In some domes, chaos reigned as looters took advantage of the confusion. In others, communities banded together, pooling resources and knowledge to face the unknown challenges ahead. Dr. Naomi Bennett, whose impassioned speech had caught the aliens' attention, found herself transported to the dome over Sydney. As she took in her new surroundings, she noticed subtle changes in the environment. The air seemed charged with an unfamiliar energy, and even gravity felt slightly off. They're not just testing our physical capabilities, she realized, her mind racing. They want to see how quickly we can adapt to new conditions, how we problem solve under pressure. Across the globe, similar revelations dawned on the trapped populations. In Moscow's Red Square, a group of physicists huddled together, their breath frosting in the suddenly Arctic air. One of them, Dr. Miguel Ortega, pulled out a notebook with shaking hands. We need to document everything, he insisted. Every change, every challenge. If we can understand the parameters of their tests, maybe we can get ahead of them. Meanwhile, outside the domes, the rest of humanity grappled with their new reality. Governments scrambled to maintain order and provide aid to the affected cities, all while preparing for the possibility that the tests might spread. In Washington, D.C., the president addressed the nation from a heavily guarded bunker. My fellow Americans, indeed my fellow humans, she began, her voice steady despite the weight of the situation. We face a challenge unlike any in our history, but if these aliens thought to break us apart, they have gravely miscalculated. Today we stand united not just as a nation but as a species. Her words resonated across the globe, inspiring a wave of cooperation that transcended old rivalries. Chinese and American scientists shared data freely while historic enemies pooled military resources to protect vulnerable populations. As the tests continued, an unexpected phenomenon began to emerge. People inside the domes started to display abilities that defied conventional explanation. For millennia, the galaxy had been locked in conflict, torn between factions that could not reconcile their visions of the future, but it was the third demonstration that truly showcased humanity's potential on a world paralyzed for centuries by a philosophical deadlock, unable to choose between transcending the physical or perfecting the biological. A group of human artists and scientists unveiled a masterpiece. It was a fusion of technology and organic matter, a living sculpture that resonated with the music of the spheres and pulsed with the rhythm of a billion heartbeats. It was the embodiment of synthesis, a bridge between worlds, that left even the most jaded Galactic Federation representatives in awe. As news of these demonstrations spread across the galaxy, the balance of power began to shift. More and more worlds looked to Earth, not as a forgotten backwater or a potential weapon, but as a source of inspiration and innovation. The ascended and bioengineered factions, sensing the change in the galactic winds, scrambled to adjust their strategies. Some sought to undermine humanity's efforts through disinformation and discord. Others tried to curry favor, offering advanced technologies and access to long-hidden knowledge in exchange for humanity's support. Through it all, Earth's leaders and their newly evolved advisors walked a diplomatic tightrope. They knew that one false move could plunge the galaxy back into conflict with Earth, caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, changes continued to unfold on Earth itself. The transformations initiated by the dome spread, albeit more slowly, to the rest of the population. Cities reshaped themselves, technology advanced in leaps that defied conventional understanding, and the very fabric of human society began to evolve. Dr. Moira Callahan, tirelessly studying these changes, made a startling discovery: the modifications to human biology and the alterations to Earth's cities and technology were not separate phenomena, they were part of a greater whole. Humanity and its homeworld were evolving together, becoming something greater than the sum of their parts. "We're not just changing," she explained to a rapt audience of human and alien dignitaries. "We're becoming a bridge between the organic and the technological, between the physical and the transcendent. We are the living embodiment of synthesis." Her words, broadcast across the galaxy, resonated with countless beings who had long sought a middle path between the extremes of the dominant factions. A movement began to grow with Earth at its center, not as an empire built on conquest, but as a beacon of hope in a divided cosmos. As the first year of Earth's reintegration into the galactic community drew to a close, the alien emissaries who had once viewed humanity as little more than forgotten weapons stood before the United Nations. Their ethereal forms seemed humbled, their voices tinged with something that could almost be described as respect. "Humans of Earth," one emissary intoned, "you have shown us a path we had not considered. You have reminded us of the strength that comes from unity, from the blending of diverse perspectives and abilities. We came here seeking weapons, instead we have found partners." The emissaries extended an offer that would have been unthinkable mere months ago: a seat on the Galactic Federation's ruling council, not as subordinates or clients, but as full and equal members with the power to shape the future of the galaxy. As humanity stood on the brink of a new era poised to take its place among the stars, Dr. Callahan gazed up at the night sky. The stars no longer seemed cold and distant, but alive with possibility. "We were forgotten," she mused, a smile playing at her lips. "But now we will be remembered, not as the weapons we were meant to be, but as the peacemakers we chose to become." The galaxy watched and waited, holding its breath, as humanity prepared to make its choice. The next move was theirs, and it would echo across the cosmos for eons to come. The grand chamber of the Galactic Federation's ruling council pulsed with an energy that transcended the physical realm. Beings of pure light hovered alongside cybernetic constructs and creatures of flesh and blood, all focused on the small delegation from Earth. At the forefront stood Dr. Freya Larson, her silver-streaked hair shimmering with an inner light that matched the ethereal glow of the Ascended. "We accept your offer," she declared, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's collective decision. "Earth will join the Galactic Federation as full and equal members." A ripple of excitement, or what passed for excitement among such diverse beings, swept through the chamber. The decision was historic, unprecedented. Never before had a species risen from forgotten relic to council member in such a short span of time. As the formalities of Earth's induction proceeded, few noticed the shadowy figure slipping out of the chamber. Ambassador Thal of the Void-born Confederacy, a loose alliance of species from the darkest reaches of the galaxy, moved with purpose through the twisting corridors of the station. Its form seemed to absorb light, leaving only a vague outline visible to those it passed. In a secure communication chamber, Thal activated an encrypted channel. "The humans have been granted full membership," its voice hissed, a discordant whisper. "Our worst fears are realized. They must be eliminated before they upset the balance of power." Light years away, on a planet shrouded in perpetual darkness, a massive war fleet stirred ships resembling twisted metallic nightmares powered up weapons capable of shattering worlds. The Void-born had long watched from the shadows, waiting for their moment to strike at the heart of the Federation. Now, with the human wildcard in play, they could wait no longer. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted over their newfound galactic status. Cities glowed with bioluminescent displays that put the northern lights to shame. In the streets of New York, Tokyo, and Lagos, humans danced alongside holographic projections of their new alien allies. Yet, in the heart of the newly constructed Terran Defense Network, Dr. Callahan felt a growing unease. "Something doesn't feel right," she murmured, her enhanced senses picking up minute disturbances in the data streams. Her concerns were interrupted by an urgent transmission. A holographic figure materialized. Captain Kira Donovan, leader of humanity's first deep space expedition. Her face was grim, her uniform torn and scorched. "Dr. Callahan, we've stumbled onto something big," Donovan reported, her voice tight with tension. "There's a massive fleet mobilizing in the Outer Rim. We intercepted communications. They're planning to attack Earth." Callahan's blood ran cold. "How long do we have?" "Days, maybe less. We're transmitting all the data we've gathered, but our ship took heavy damage escaping. We'll try to make it back, but..." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving only static. Callahan's mind raced. The Federation was vast, but its forces were spread thin, still recovering from centuries of internal conflict. Earth's defenses, while advanced, were untested against a full-scale invasion. They needed more time, more resources. She slammed her hand down on the emergency broadcast system. Within seconds, her face appeared on screens across the globe and on every human outpost and ship in Federation space. "This is not a drill," she began, her voice steady despite the fear clawing at her gut. "Earth faces an imminent threat. All defense personnel report to your stations. All civilians proceed calmly to your designated shelters. This is not a drill." As Callahan's warning echoed across the planet, humanity's response was swift and unified. They had faced extinction before. They would not go quietly into the night. Dr. Callahan closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and activated the experimental weapon. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a ripple becoming a tsunami, a wave of energy burst forth from the device. It washed over the Earth through the defending fleet and slammed into the Void-born Armada. Ships began to twist and distort, their crews screaming as the very fabric of reality warped around them. The energy wave seemed to feed on itself, growing stronger with each passing second, but it didn't stop there. Callahan watched in horror as the wave continued to expand, engulfing friend and foe alike. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no, it's too much. We can't control it." As the energy wave approached the planet killer, the massive ship attempted to flee. Too late, the wave struck it with the force of a supernova, tearing the vessel apart at the subatomic level. The resulting explosion was beyond catastrophic. For a moment it seemed as if the entire solar system would be consumed. Then, just as suddenly as it began, it was over. The energy wave collapsed in on itself, leaving behind an eerie silence. As the dust settled and sensors came back online, the survivors took stock of the situation. The Void-born fleet was gone, utterly annihilated. But so too were many of the defending ships. Earth itself, while still intact, bore deep scars from the battle. In the aftermath, as rescue efforts began and the full extent of the damage became clear, a strange phenomenon swept across the planet. Humans and aliens alike reported visions, flashes of insight into realms beyond normal perception. Dr. Larson, emerging from the ruins of the Federation embassy, found herself able to see the quantum threads that connected all living things. Captain Donovan, dragging herself from the wreckage of her ship, suddenly understood the language of the stars themselves. It soon became apparent that the energy wave had done more than destroy the Void-born. It had accelerated the evolution that the domes had begun, pushing humanity and their allies into a new stage of existence. As the galaxy reeled from the conflict and its aftermath, Earth stood at a crossroads once again. They had survived, proven their worth 100 times over. But the cost had been unimaginably high, and the smoldering ruins of New York. Dr. Callahan helped pull survivors from the rubble. Her mind raced with the implications of what they had unleashed. We've opened a door, she murmured, more to herself than to those around her, but to what? As if in answer, the sky above shimmered and parted, but this time it wasn't the Galactic Federation, or the Void-born who appeared. Something older, vaster, and infinitely more mysterious had taken notice of the tiny blue world and its improbable inhabitants. The next chapter of humanity's journey was about to begin, and nothing would ever be the same. As the shimmering rift in the sky widened, a collective gasp rippled across the planet. From the tear in reality emerged a being of such incomprehensible vastness that the human mind struggled to process its form. It was as if a living constellation had descended upon Earth, its body a tapestry of swirling nebula and pulsing starlight. I am Kairos. A voice resonated in the minds of every sentient being on the planet, its tone neither male nor female, young nor old, but a harmony of all voices across time and space. You have drawn the attention of the cosmic architects. As humanity reeled from this new revelation, the remnants of the Galactic Federation fleet regrouped around Earth, the ascended bioengineers and synthesists, their differences momentarily forgotten in the face of this new power, gathered to confront the entity known as Kairos Diarlusun. Her newly evolved senses, reeling from the cosmic presence, stepped forward. As Earth's representative, we meant no offense, she began, her voice steady despite the awe threatening to overwhelm her. We were merely defending ourselves. Ciro's form shimmered, stars within its body pulsing in a rhythm that seemed to match the heartbeat of the universe itself. Offense, no, child of Earth, you have not offended, you have awakened. With those words, Kos extended a tendril of starlight, touching the minds of every human on the planet. In an instant, the full scope of galactic history unfolded before them. They saw the rise and fall of civilizations that made the Galactic Federation seem young by comparison. They witnessed the birth of stars and the death of galaxies, all orchestrated by the cosmic architects in a grand dance of creation and destruction. As the vision faded, humanity found itself forever changed. The evolutionary leap triggered by Dr. Callahan's weapon had been but a prelude to this moment of cosmic awakening. The experiment has yielded unexpected results. Kairos continued, its words echoing across the solar system. You were more than weapons, more than pawns. You are the key to the next phase of universal evolution. The implications of Ciro's words sent shock waves through the assembled alien factions. The ascended, their forms flickering with agitation, demanded answers. This cannot be. Humanity was forgotten, abandoned. How can they be the key? Cyrus's response was both gentle and unyielding. It was in that very abandonment that they found their strength. Free from the constraints of your expectations, they evolved in ways you could not foresee. As the cosmic entity spoke, the true extent of the conspiracy began to unravel. The void-born attack, it was revealed, had been orchestrated by a cabal of extremists from all factions of the Galactic Federation. They had feared the potential they sensed in humanity, seeing in Earth's children the power to upset the delicate balance of galactic politics. Dr. Callahan, her mind racing to process the revelations, suddenly understood the true nature of the weapon she had created. It wasn't just a defense system, she gasped, it was a key unlocking our latent potential. Kairos' form pulsed an affirmation. You have taken the first step on a path that will reshape the cosmos, but the journey ahead is fraught with peril. The forces that sought your destruction will not rest. As if to underscore Ciro's warning, alarms blared across Earth's defense network. From the outer reaches of the solar system, a second wave of void-born ships emerged from hyperspace. This fleet dwarfed the first, a vast armada of world killers and reality-warping weapons. They seek to end the experiment before it can truly begin. Kos intoned, its voice tinged with something akin to sadness. The choice now falls to you, children of Earth. Will you stand and fight for your place in the cosmic order, or will you falter at the precipice of your destiny?